You know, it's never too early to start preparing for the highest level of liberty at the soonest possible time. My name is Michael Santos, and I'm the founder of Prison Professors. We are a nonprofit, and we work to try and help people build a pathway that will lead them to a higher level of liberty. And in this video, I'm going to show you how you could start sowing seeds today at no cost to you whatsoever. And that's, of course, thanks to our sponsors at White Collar Advice. But today, this is really not about me. It's not about our sponsors. It's all about you. We know that if you're going into the criminal justice system, there are frequently press releases and allegations against you that disparage who you are as an individual, because that is the mission of the system, is to get stakeholders in the system to really just focus and hone in on the worst thing that you've done in your life. I certainly know that. For those of you who don't know me, I was in prison for 26 years, serving a 45-year sentence, and I served all of that time in federal prisons, starting in high security prisons, going to medium security prisons, low security prisons, and minimum security camps. I've been out of prison since 2013. So I've learned a lot about this process, and it's one of the reasons that I feel so passionately about sharing these strategies that anybody could use. In fact, it is the reason that we launched the nonprofit, to try and be the change that we want to see. But a lot of people will wonder, why should I build a profile? How is that going to help me? Well, I want you to be thinking about all the challenges you're going to face in the months, years, and decades ahead. There's going to be a body of professionals who are working to try and influence the way that the world sees you. And it's super important for you to build a pathway that will help people see you for the way that you've responded to the problem, not to the problem itself. And this is irrespective of whether you have accepted responsibility, a plea agreement, and pleaded guilty, or you made the decisions that I made, which was to go to trial and have a jury convict you, and you're facing sentencing, and you've never accepted responsibility. I didn't learn how to accept responsibility until after a jury had convicted me. So I don't make a judgment call on what you should do with regard to your response to a judicial charge. What I want you to be thinking about is all the collateral consequences and what seeds you can sow to make things better. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the profile that I built. And I built this profile really as a sample for you to use. I've been out of prison, as I said, since 2013. But I wanted people to see how to memorialize and document a journey. And I want you to see how you can get started right now. So by the end of this video, you will actually see how to start your own profile, and more importantly, how to update it and memorialize it as I have done. So now I'm looking actually at my profile, which anybody can see on prisonprofessorstalent.com. On the top here, you'll see a search bar. And if I were to go to the home page, first of all, and just go up to that search bar right there, I could just type in my name, Michael Santos, and there it shows up. If I click that button right there, it's going to take viewers right to my profile. And this profile, you will see I'm giving an opportunity, or trying to give an opportunity, for people to see me not as a guy in an orange jumpsuit, or as a felon, or as a mugshot, but rather I want them to see me as a professional, as somebody who is working hard to make amends and live as a good citizen. And that's what this profile picture is supposed to depict. You should have a profile that you consider to be a professional image of you. And that's an image of when I relatively quickly after I got out of prison. I've been out now for 10 years, so I may look a lot older to you because I am older. But again, this isn't about me, it's about you thinking about how you want the world to see you. And you'll see over here on the left of this screen, or on my left, I don't know if it's on your right, but on my left, you'll see that it has my name, it has my registration number. That's actually the registration number that I had when I was in federal prison. You would have a mailing address. And the reason that you want to be thinking about a mailing address is you want to build a support network. Now, I was in prison before the internet existed, so it was not so easy for people to find me, and I really lived on building a body of support through the U.S. Postal Service. Now the federal prison system is going through some challenges where they may not even be giving you your envelopes. Instead, they may provide it to you on a tablet-based device, or you may get it on a screen. But again, this is not about me. This is not about even you. This address is for other people to find you. You want to build a body of support. You want to build people who are going to advocate for you and almost become your board of directors, advising you and preparing you for the success that I believe you can become. But it's not going to happen by accident. In fact, there are many competing forces out there that seem to be conspiring for your demise once you are in the criminal justice system. So you definitely want to be thinking about how you're going to overcome that. And when you get onboarded into the system, and I will show you that in this video, you want to be thinking about, well, do I want to even use my real name? Some people choose to use a pseudonym, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, Samuel Clemens, one of the most famous American authors, wrote under the pseudonym Mark Twain. His real name was Samuel Clemens. I don't know the details on why he chose to write under a pseudonym, but for various reasons, career, reputation, whatever, you may not want to use your real name. In my case, I found it very empowering to define who I was and to build a body of support, a network of support that would advocate for me. And I could only do that by being open and transparent. But every individual needs to make his or her own decision. So make that decision on whether you want to memorialize your pathway to success under your real name, or whether you want to make that, build your profile under a pseudonym. I don't make a judgment call either way. You'll find that there are other identifying characteristics here, such as your location. And in the form, it's going to ask you for your mailing address. If you don't want to write it, just put NA. But if you know you're going to Lompoc or Terre Haute or Miami, just put the address there. You can always update it at any time. And I'll show you how to do that as well in this course of this video. Now you'll see another button under there that says subscribe to my newsletter. That's kind of cool, because if you're memorializing your journey while you're in prison, every time you update something, people who choose to subscribe to your newsletter, they will get notified. Oh, John Allen just published on his site, and they'll get an email. And if they choose to go look at it, they can. It's just a way for you to connect and stay connected. And I find that to be so important for anybody who's going into the system. Now, if you scroll down the page further, and this is just a sample, you will see that we have a few different options. You have your biography entries, you have your journal entries, you have, if you scroll down a little further, your book reports entries, and you have a release plan. These are the first four components that we've been building upon. And as I continue to build the nonprofit, we hope to add more components. But right now, you've got those four, right? This is costs you nothing. It is really a mechanism for us to try and advocate on behalf of all people who go to prison. We're trying to make time credits available to everybody. We're trying to introduce work release programs. But we can only do that if we can demonstrate that people who work through the Prison Professors programming they're genuinely should be home. So we encourage you to look through prisonprofessors.org, the nonprofit, which is what funds this, thanks to White Collar Advice and other sponsors who have a like-minded belief in us. Learn what you can do to help stakeholders see you as something different. Well, your biography, I'm going to just click on a biography here that I wrote as a sample, and you will see, I am trying to define who I am, not for the people who already know me. I'm not doing it for my wife or my sister or my grandmother. I'm doing this for people who don't know who I am. Okay, but yet they may find a press release that is very defamatory. You want people to see you as a person of strength, as a person who didn't give up, who didn't stop working to rebuild and become something successful and worthy of relief and support. I built so much support while I was in prison that made all the difference in my life. And you can see how I kind of wrote about this in the biography. In my case, I chose to be very transparent about the reasons that put me in prison. But this is my way of doing it. I use all types of links in there to try and get people to see how hard I worked, because I wanted people to see me not as the guy who sold Coke and served multiple decades in prison, but rather I wanted people to see me as somebody who was working hard to try and change his life and become a contributing member of society. And so you could build this as much as you want to do, but what I want you to know is our team, we're just a small nonprofit. We don't have the resources to do extensive editing for people. We want to give you a platform to build support, and your biography is one of those tools that you can use for that end. Now, you can write as many biographies as you want. I would recommend write one today, but in 3 months, I hope your life is going to change. In 6 months or in 9 months or in 12 months, if you worked as hard as I did, you will build more credibility, and you want to be able to demonstrate that. And so showing your work is an essential component here. If you scroll down a little farther, you'll see journal entries, and you see that our team is publishing my journal entries that I publish on prisonprofessors.org every day. And the reason that we're doing that is I make 3 promises to members of our community. I'll never ask you to do anything I didn't do. I'm never going to lie to you or mislead you, and I'm never going to ask you to pay me a penny. It's my hope that by doing that, you are going to find this pathway that you could use to change your life, because I'm only showing you this is what worked for me. I'm not going to say you have to write as much as I wrote. I mean, I write extensively because I'm trying to persuade administrators why they should change the law. So I want you to be thinking about your journal, whatever it is you're doing. If you haven't gone to prison yet, you might be talking about how you're using your time today to start preparing for the journey ahead, how you're going to webinars, how you're reading books, how you're studying, how you're interacting with others, how you're preparing your family, how you're building your pathway for the next career, how you're working to atone or reconcile with society. All of those, if you're making those efforts, my recommendation is that you memorialize them, and that's what this platform is all about. The next of the 4 components is book reports. We really encourage you, every time you read a book, make sure that you write about why you chose to read that book, what you learned from reading that book, and how reading that book will contribute to the success that you are determined to become in the future. Because that becomes an asset for you. You can then start using that asset to get other people to believe in you. That strategy worked for me. I can't promise you the world is going to change for you, but it changed for me. And I feel compelled to share that with you and to show you no one should work as hard as you do to build your pathway to success. Finally, the 4th component is a release plan. And I would really encourage you to build an iterative release plan. That means you're adjusting it, right? Whatever your release plan is today, if you're going into the system or if you're already in the system, you want your release plan to evolve as you evolve. Because in theory, you're developing new skills. You want to think about the stakeholders, like think of the judge, right? He has had an iterative life. He didn't start off becoming a judge, although he probably began thinking about becoming a judge or a lawyer very early in his career. And how did that influence him? Well, it influenced him to work hard in high school and do community service projects so that he would be a great candidate to get into a phenomenal undergraduate school. And then he performed well in undergraduate school. He didn't make the kind of bad decisions that I made. The judge theoretically did well and studied hard and earned good grades and did community service and made sure that he protected his record and built a kind of a profile that showed him to be a person of good character. And that, of course, advanced him in an iterative way to qualify to get into a great law school. And so he not only earned good grades, but he built these community service projects. It's iterative. And maybe he got into a great school like Stanford Law School or Harvard Law School, or Yale Law School, because typically that's where these judges go. They go to these really Ivy League schools. And then there's typically a stepping stone from there where many of them work for the Department of Justice, either as a prosecutor, as a solicitor general, or as a civil litigator. Maybe they had a stint in academia, maybe they had a stint in private practice. But most judges come from the Department of Justice. So they have the mindset of a prosecutor, but they also have this mindset of iterative growth. We want you to develop this pathway of iterative growth, because from the interviews that I've done as an advocate, that's really what the system wants to see, is iterative growth. So that's what I would love to see you building as somebody who's devoted to the nonprofit. And what I'd love to do right now is just kind of show you our new nonprofit's website, because I'm really proud of it. It's something I've been working on for several months. And you should spend some time looking at prisonprofessors.org. That is the nonprofit where we're guiding people toward success, toward best possible outcomes. And spend some time on the site. There's a tremendous amount of free information that will help you start navigating your pathway to a better life. And you can see that as I kind of scroll through the screen here. And this is kind of an iterative site. We're still developing it. I'm filming this video in the spring of 2025. I think it's 2025. And I'm showing you how did I build it. But if you keep just scrolling down, you will see that I'm authentic. I'm somebody who went through the journey, and what I'm trying to share with you is how do you build it. But this is the nonprofit's website. You've got to be thinking about your pathway to success, and the way you do that is you click one of these buttons. Now let me see if I can find this button here on one of the sites that I created here in anticipation of this video. Here's a button. It says build your profile, and you'll see these buttons on our various websites. Just one of them says click to start building your profile. The other one says click to add content to your profile. And now I want to go through each one of them and show you how easy it is, right? You don't need anyone else. If you're out here in society and you're watching this video, you can do this on your own. The site is built in such a way that we could do it economically, and we could accommodate 100 or 1,000. We can onboard people every day, every week. And we're building our nonprofit because we have to demonstrate thousands of people shouldn't be in prison. I might not think you should be in prison. Your mom might think you shouldn't be in prison. Your grandma, your wife, your husband, your children. But guess what? None of those people matter. With regard to getting you out of prison, you've got to get stakeholders to believe in you. And the only way you're going to do that is if you focus and you stay methodical, you make intentional decisions, you stay engaged, you live as if you're the CEO of your life. If you're willing to do that, you're going to start influencing the way people see you. So let's just click this one here that says click to start building your profile. Now, when I click that, I go to a Google form. And the reason that we have this in a Google form is because we're a virtual nonprofit. Wherever I am, I'm working. I'm never going to ask you to work so hard if I'm not going to work so hard. So this is the way that I can get other members of our team, like our amazing team in the Philippines, who's led by Roman, a formerly incarcerated person who had the injustice of being deported from the United States, but he's a great asset and a great friend to our nonprofit. And he's the one that will do this work for you if you're in prison. But if you're home, make it easy for Roman by just onboarding yourself. Just fill out this form. And I'm going to do it in real time here. So I'm going to go and just type in my name, Michael at, I'm just going to use prisonprofessors.org. That's my real email address, right? And I'm going to hit tab. And it's going to come down here to the next one. And it's going to give me, first and last name. Now, as I said earlier in the video, you may want to use your real name. I do. Some people want to use a pseudonym. There's various legitimate reasons for wanting to use a pseudonym. And everybody needs to make his or her own decision. We're just going to publish whatever you send. So I give this explanation here. Our team needs a name to build your profile. We encourage you to use your real name to authentically memorialize your journey. If you're uncomfortable, use a pseudonym, okay? And then you could just, this explanatory video, this is the video I'm making right now, so you don't see it. So I'm just going to use my name, Michael Santos. Now, by doing that, that lets our team in the Philippines know what do they use to build your profile. So I hit tab. Boom, I go to the next one. Where will you serve your sentence? You may not know. You may know. Let's say I don't know. Very easy. I just put NA, right? That's what it asks you to do. Fill out every form. So NA, there's only 7 questions. It's super simple. What is your registration number? And it tells you, if you don't know your registration number in the federal system, it's on your PSR. It says USM, United States Marshals number. That's the same number as your registration number. So my number in federal prison, you can look me up on the BOP's website, was 16377-004. Okay, click tab. Okay, the next one is, what is your mailing address? Don't put your home address. Okay, this is public. It's on the internet. The purpose of this is for you to build your life, but anybody can see it, and you should protect your privacy. I would only recommend putting your mailing address if you know you're going to prison, so that people can write you there if you want them to write you there. If you don't, just put N/A, and then hit tab, and it'll take you to the next. Question number 5. What is your sentence length if you know, right? My sentence length was 45 years. I mean, I hope nobody that's watching this video is looking at anything like that, but whatever it is, plug it in there, because you can use this on your advocacy as I did. The first thing I always say is, I was in prison for 26 years. That has become a strength for me. Okay, what is going to be your strength? Your strength is that you could face adversity and go through it with your dignity intact and with opportunities to emerge successfully. That's how you build support. At least that's the strategy that worked for me, and it's what I teach. But every individual needs to make his own decision. And for me, I chose to always be very public. You may just choose to put NA, and that's completely fine as well. If you know when you will begin serving your sentence, enter the date. Okay? Again, if you don't know, just put NA. I started serving my sentence on August the 11th, 1987, so that's what I'm going to put there. Number 7, there are many unknowns to this question, which is, when do you project authorities will release you? The reason there's an unknown is because laws change, right? Policies change. If I'm successful as an advocate, we're going to have federal work release programs. We're going to have opportunities for you to earn freedom. That is the whole mission of all of our work, is to create opportunities for you to be able to earn freedom through merit. Be the CEO of your life. And if you've done that, I hope that you're going to get out earlier. But plug what you think you're going to do, and then let's try and build a mechanism or a pathway that will make you a better candidate for earlier release, okay? In my case, I got out on August the 12th, 2013. That's when I finished my obligation to the Bureau of Prisons, so that's what I'm going to put. And if I hit next, boom, I go to the thank you page, and I've just given my team all the resources that are necessary to build a prison professor's talent profile. That's all you have to do to build a profile. There's no ask, no request for credit card or for $1 or any of that. We simply want you to work to earn freedom. And that way I can advocate for you and our team can advocate for you. But I can't do it if I don't know who you are. So publish your information, but that is just the start. The next phase, and you'll see that there is, you submit, and then when you submit, you've got this little Google thing that verifies you're a human. So I'm going to submit, check the buttons that are cars as long as I can see them. I think these are all the ones with cars. Let's see, I hit verify, and boom, I was successful. And as soon as I did that, an email got generated and sent to me because I submitted the form. It got sent to our team in the Philippines, and it got sent to you. And that's the pathway to build your profile. But building your profile, all that does is put your name up there. Now, next is click to add content to your profile. This is the meat, right? I mean, you might hire let's say you want to build a restaurant, okay? You might hire a contractor to build you a restaurant. And the contractor says, great, let me build you the restaurant. And he puts up the walls, he puts up the roof, he puts beautiful windows in, he goes in there and puts tables and chairs and all of the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that you need. But that doesn't bring anybody in the door, right? You haven't sold one cheeseburger yet, okay? You haven't done any of that yet. You've got to get people in the door. Well, the first step that I just showed you was building your restaurant. When you build your profile, you start giving a reason for people to believe in you. And there's 4 profile sections that I told you. 1 is you want to write your own biography. 2, you want to make sure that you're journaling frequently. 3, you want to make sure that you're demonstrating a documented pathway to success. You're recording the books that you read. And 4, you want to build an iterative release plan. Remember, those were the components that I spoke about. But in order to do that, if you're out here and you haven't gone in yet, use this tool. Just click this button. You'll see this button on all of our websites and our affiliates' websites, because we want to encourage you to start building a pathway, to start demonstrating you're something more than what others have said about you. So you just click this button here, click to add content to your profile. And when you do that, a form opens magically, right? And it's called Update Prison Investors Talent Profile. You can do this as frequently as you want, okay? So it just tells you, but first you have to have built a profile. So you make sure you do the other one first. And if you haven't, and you get here, just say, oh, I haven't done the profile yet. I haven't just told you my name. I haven't told you how much time I'm serving. I haven't told you where I'm going, you got to do that first. And you can actually send your image in so that you have your nice professional image as well. So that's an important component. If I didn't cover that, I'll cover it in another video. But just get started. Start building. Start telling me why you're different. Why are you special? And you can look at mine as a sample, and that's what this site shows you. Is it like, go look at mine, because it's what I did. And this video is like best practices. When it says watch this video, this is the video I'm talking about. I'm just writing about it. I'm talking with you about it. I'm trying to teach you, right? You have to give us your email, because otherwise we can't validate you and send it back. Hey, this is what you sent us, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and validate myself by giving them my address. And it says, please tell us the first name and last name you used to set up your profile, right? In my case, I used my own name. But if you use a pseudonym, then just put the pseudonym, because we don't know who you are, right? We're just going to publish whatever you say. So in my case, I'm just going to write, yeah, I'm Michael Santos. Boom, Michael Santos. Okay, and then I'm going to hit tab, and it's going to go to the next one. Now it's going to give me multiple choice. I'm going to choose one of the 4. What am I writing about today? Well, today I'm writing a biography. Today I'm writing a journal. Today I'm writing a book report, right? Whatever you're doing, just click this, right? I'm going to write a journal entry. Let's just say that. No, I'm going to write a book report. Okay, so I just clicked a book report. And now it says, please submit the information that you'd like us to publish. And this is long form content now. So you could write extensively, but it's going to measure your paragraphs. You have to use good grammar. You have to use good writing. You have to kind of memorialize how you want the world to see you. And if you scroll through, you'll see I'm giving you a little lesson, because you could write quite a bit. You don't have to write much at all. It's up to you. You decide how you want the world to see you. Now, I also gave you a link to this video here, because it just popped up for me yesterday. And I want you to see, this is an example of how you can influence the world, right? There's the video, right? And what's important, what I wanted you to see here, is look at all these comments. There's 944 comments. And if I click there, just by click by the newest comments, because it's pretty long, you can go through there and just see, how did I influence people that I've never met, right? That didn't start yesterday. It started while I was in prison. And it's what led to me getting out of prison and building businesses and being able to devote the rest of my life to a nonprofit, to changing America's prison system for you. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. I feel as though I have an obligation and a responsibility to you, because leaders taught me how to think differently while I was in prison and how to build support. And it made all the difference in the world. I didn't get out of prison one day early. I served 9,500 days in prison, which was the most I could serve under the sentencing scheme that existed when I went to prison in 1987. Now, because of great advocacy, we have the First Step Act that applies to many people that are going into the federal system. My job now is to make it available to anybody in federal prison. That's the reason we've built our nonprofit. That's the mission that we're on. We are here to help everybody work toward earning freedom at the highest level of liberty at the soonest possible time. I can't change the past, but I can show you pathways to influence the future. And all I can promise you, again, are those three promises. 1, I'll never lie to you or mislead you. 2, I'll never ask you to do anything that I didn't do. And 3, I'll never ask you to pay me a penny. The reason that I can do that is because I've been out of prison for 12 years. I've got a lot of support who believe in this like-minded mission. I told you earlier, we're sponsored by whitecollaradvice.com, but many others. And you could read all about that if you just visit our website at prisonprofessors.org. You could see what we're about. We're about working to make better outcomes for anybody that goes into the system. My name is Michael Santos. I believe in you. And I want to thank you for being a member of our community. Thanks.